Hey everybody, all right, we are live. So thank you so much for coming. If you are watching the replay afterwards, then please leave a comment. And if you are watching this afterwards and you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would click subscribe and click that notification bell as well to get notified of my videos. So my name is Tim. And I'm an online teacher. I've been an online teacher with VIPKid for almost 2 years. And I'm really excited to be doing this because I hit 1,000 subscribers. And my little friend will be with me. She is my favorite prop. Her name is Yin Yin. She's a Malaysian street cat and was rescued outside of my house just under a year ago. Actually, it was October of 2018. And mommy took the other 3 little babies, but left this little one behind. And so she's kind of become mine by accident. I never thought I wanted a cat living overseas, but she's a good one. She's a keeper. So she's a good prop in the classroom, and all my students love to see her. So yes, good, some comments. Edward, awesome, welcome, man. Good to see you. So if you are just joining, I'm doing this because my channel hit 1,000 subscribers, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that journey, how I got into online teaching and then YouTube. And, you know, I've seen huge growth in my channel over the last, I would say 6 months. And it just rapidly started climbing. And I hit 1,000 last weekend. And I never thought in a million years I would have a YouTube channel with 1,000 people who subscribed. Never. And it's just crazy to think that, that people want to watch and get value from the content. So actually, since I started teaching online, I find the screen gets super blurry. I guess it's part of getting older, right? So that's a little bit better. Yeah, can everybody hear me okay and see me okay? I'm just a little concerned that there's going to be some lag. Hey, Wendy. Hi, Rose, thanks for coming. Yeah, quality is okay? Everyone can see and hear me okay? Awesome, we'll just wait a little bit. Yeah, if you're in, please click the like button as well. It helps the video, helps the channel a little bit. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Awesome. So a little bit about me. I do a lot of videos for VIPKid, and I do a lot of recruiting, but I don't share a lot about, you know, kind of where I'm from, where I came from, how I ended up on this side of the world. And I want to include some of that content into my videos in the future. So I was born in Bermuda. I'll go way back to the very beginning. I was born in Bermuda, a small island in the Atlantic Ocean, all by itself, and usually in the zone of major hurricanes, but we seem to have missed Dorian, which was good this year. I lived there, grew up there. My brother still lives there. My mother still lives there. She's been there for 45 years. And I moved to Canada when I was 18 to go to university. I did my bachelor's degree. I did an education degree with the goal of teaching in the public school system in Canada. And I got my first teaching job in Nova Scotia. So I was in Nova Scotia for a year, and then I got a contract in New Brunswick, where I was living in Moncton, New Brunswick, and then in Dorchester, New Brunswick, and taught there for 2 years. Got my permanent contract, and then got this opportunity to teach in China. And it was a partnership with a Canadian international school in China that was, recruiting teachers in Canada, and also, I believe, sending students to some high schools in Canada. So I ended up deciding, after a lot of back and forth debating, whether or not I should go to China. And I took a job at the Canadian International School of Beijing. It was an incredible year. Fell in love with Asia, really fell in love with teaching overseas, and I got hooked. So I'm going to kind of be looking down and watching comments too. If you've got anything, interject, and that would be awesome. I'll try to answer questions. So I taught in Beijing for, well, initially it was that 1 year, and I didn't want to go home. So I ended up getting another job at a better school with a better pay package. And I was teaching at sort of an American kind of school in Beijing, and I got a 2-year contract there. So I was 1 year at the Canadian school for a total of 3 years in Beijing. I still didn't want to come home. I still had my contract in Canada. So at that point, I was able to jump back into my permanent contract in New Brunswick without missing a beat. I didn't have to reapply or interview or anything. I would have my same position again. But after a long period of debating, I decided to give it all up and continue to pursue international teaching. So hey guys, hey Marcos, hey everybody, awesome, hey Sakitha. So at that point, I put the feelers out there and I got an offer to teach in Malaysia, which is where I am now. It was an American school in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, the capital city. I didn't even know where Malaysia was. I kind of knew roughly where it was through travels, but I hadn't been there yet. I had traveled to Thailand from Beijing, on different school breaks, and I decided to go for it. It was a great package. It was a good school, and it afforded me the opportunity to live overseas for a little bit more. So I took that job and ended up in Kuala Lumpur in 2013. So taught for, I forgot to say what I was teaching in Canada. So I actually got, my first job was a grade 1, 40% position. So I was teaching basically the math for a grade 1 teacher while she was doing a reading recovery program. And I was substituting in the morning. So it was a really, really good setup. And then I got a grade 1 position. Grade 1 position for a year. And then my final position before I left overseas was a kindergarten grade 1 split. And it was in a small rural school in Dorchester, New Brunswick. And I had 11 students. I think it was 6 students in kindergarten and 5 students in first grade. I had a behavior interventionist. I had a full-time assistant. And I had a speech person coming in as well. So there was like tons of adults for a really small class, but it was tons of fun. And I still miss that school so much. All right. So from that point, where are we? So I got the job in Malaysia. I came here to teach 3rd grade. So I was teaching grade 3 for the American school here, and I loved it. After 2 years, I decided to try something new within the school, and I got a job as a technology integration specialist. So that position was kind of a new position, and it was basically helping teachers integrate technology into their classroom. So we were becoming a 1-to-1 iPad school, and we were, helping teachers integrate those iPads into the classroom and develop the curriculum to, incorporate technology and things like that. So that was tons of fun. I really, really loved that job. I loved going into classrooms and helping teachers, figure out how to effectively use technology with their students. But all good things come to an end, and that position was changing, and I just had a hunger and a thirst to do something different. I started getting the idea that maybe there was more out there to teaching than, teaching in a school. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I only had training in teaching. I had ideas of things that I was kind of passionate about. Fitness was one of them. Traveling, I love to travel and be a bit nomadic. Yin Yin is behind this computer, completely messing things up here. She wants all the attention. So maybe we'll bring her back in a second. So let's just get her off of here so she doesn't move the computer off the floor. There we go. So you spell her name Y-I-N, Y-I-N, and it kind of had to do with yin and yang, but I'm not really sure what it means. But she's super playful. So as I was saying, all good things come to an end, and I was just desiring to take a year off from teaching. And hey, Kim, good to have you. I'm not really sure sometimes whose people's names, match your Facebook name, and maybe people that I've interacted with on email or as my referrals. But welcome, everybody. Oh my gosh, we have 11 people watching. And I've only got 2 thumbs up. Click the thumbs up if you can, please. And if you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe as well. Where were we? Yeah, before Union distracted us. Yeah, so the year ended and I decided to take a year off, right? So I had no desire to go into online teaching, and I didn't even really know much about it, to be honest. When I was in Beijing, I had one student who I taught in first grade, and this is going back to 2010, yeah, 2010, 2011. He was in my first grade classroom in Beijing, and I ended up tutoring him in person when I moved to the other school. So I was commuting back and forth. His family was paying me incredible money to tutor him. And I did that for 2 years. After school, I was driving up to his house and tutoring him, just using, you know, workbooks, things that I found online, that kind of stuff. And when I left Beijing, the family wanted me to continue teaching him. So and I still teach him actually on Skype. So for the last, geez, now it's been like 10 years, I guess, because he's 14 or 15 now. Yeah. I've been not quite 10 years, 8 years. He was 5 when he was in my classroom. Let me think, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, anyway, long time. So we figured out a way that I could teach him on Skype. This was really new back then. This is going back 6 years ago. I was looking for, you know, those free kind of PDF sheets online, English worksheets, stories that I could print. And I really didn't know what I was doing. Share screen was something that just got introduced into Skype. So on Skype, I was able to share my screen with the student. So that was like revolutionary for being able to teach this boy, because he didn't have to have the same books that I had. He didn't have to have the same worksheets that I had. I could just, you know, pull them up on my computer and share them with him. So I was doing that for a while, and, you know, started getting better at it, and, you know, continued teaching him. And then he introduced me to 2 of his friends through the family, and I ended up having 3 students for a while on Skype, which was great, while I was teaching here in Malaysia. So I was making a little bit of extra income after school. And, you know, I didn't always feel like doing it, to be honest. The classes were 1 hour. So I was, you know, sometimes on some nights I was doing 2 or 3 hours with these kids. And, you know, I'm so grateful to have had that opportunity, because it really did give me some extra income while I was teaching in the international school. So all of that kind of helps me to kind of tell you about how I got into online teaching. When I quit my job in Malaysia, I had nothing going. I wanted to be a travel blogger, actually. And I started a website called onefitnomad.com. And I'm having major problems getting it back up and running right now, because it has all kinds of viruses, and I haven't done anything with it in ages and ages. But I wanted to blog about travel, and I was watching all these bloggers, you know, and how they were making an income online. And I just couldn't even imagine how it was possible. So I, you know, kind of explored that. I was following different bloggers. I was taking little courses online, how to build a website. So I started that website. I was traveling for quite a bit. So I was in and out of Malaysia. I was kind of basing here, but going in and out. And then not really chipping into any savings yet. I had worked really hard that last year teaching to save enough money to fund 1 year of travel. So that was the idea. I was going to travel for a year, and then I was going to go back into the international circuit. So if you're not familiar with international teaching, generally the recruiting for that happens in November for the following year. So it's super early. If you're an international school teacher, you tend to have to give your word of commitment for the next contract really, really early. And if you want to get out of it, then you've got to let them know at the latest by sort of Christmas, because a lot of the job fairs are in January and February. So November rolled around, and I definitely did not want to go back to teaching. Not that I never want to go back to teaching, but I really wanted to continue traveling and, you know, figuring out how to make money online. My number one goal was to make money online. I didn't care how I did it. I looked at drop shipping. I looked at affiliate marketing. I looked at blogging. I looked at SEO. I was just kind of dipping my hands in everything that I could get a hold of to figure out what would stick. And nothing was really sticking. And really with anything, if you want to make money online, you need to be persistent, be consistent, and work really hard for a couple of years with no income. You know, if you talk to bloggers that have done really well, they'll tell you that it isn't an overnight success. You have to really work hard at it. And writing blog posts was okay, but my website was definitely not bringing any income even after 6 months. And so I started doing a little bit of freelancing with a friend who's a food blogger. And actually, you can check out her website. It's Vitamin Sunshine. No, I think it's changed, actually. I'll have to put the new website down below. She's a very successful food blogger. And I started doing a little bit of work with her, helping the SEO of her site, helping her with some videos. And I really enjoyed doing the videos and editing videos. And I was making a little bit of money with that. And then I heard about VIPKid. I had actually seen VIPKid advertised on Facebook and, you know, some of those ads and different things like that. But didn't really interest me. I thought the pay was really low because I was making like double that with my students privately in China. I was making like $40 an hour with them. So that was really good money. Of course, I had to do all the preparation. The classes were long, and but you know, it was a good gig. So $20 an hour seemed really low to me. But there came a point where I didn't want to dip into my savings, and I thought, why not go for this? Make a little bit of money on the side, and while I'm working on my other things. So I got hired. Well, let's say I met someone actually in Thailand who was doing VIPKid. She recruited me. You know, the whole referral code thing. She told me a little bit more about it. I applied in December, was hired in January. It was right before Chinese New Year. So this is January 2018. I went to Vietnam for a month because, as I said, I was still traveling back and forth. And my first month teaching VIPKid was in an Airbnb in Vietnam with like okay internet. So that was another big fear, was the internet situation. But I got through it all. And I started really building my students over Chinese New Year, which is quite unusual because, you know, Chinese New Year's can be kind of a low time for teachers. I'm just going to look at the comments because I am just rambling here. I hope I'm making sense. Maria says, I applied for Magic Ears, but I decided not to proceed with the hiring process because of the reviews. Not too energetic and don't like micromanagement. Yeah. I did a video on that. Magic Ears works really well for a lot of people. It didn't work well for me. You know, yeah, I won't say too much. They just weren't for me. I think that they have a lot of good things going for them, for sure. They have a great pay scale. If you're with Magic Ears and you're watching this, I mean, you probably applied to them and really like them because the pay is good. And the cancellation policy is excellent, you know. So those two things coupled together make them a really great company. But they do micromanage, in my opinion. They do, you know, look at your classes. They will watch your classes. You will not rank up unless you're meeting those bottom lines. So it's quite a different system than VIPKid, but they want kind of a certain standard of teaching. So, yeah. Oh, the typhoon. Yeah, typhoon about to hit Cebu. Yeah, I did actually hear something about that this morning. Hey, Rose, I work for GoGoKid and VIPKid, but I stopped opening slots for GoGoKid because even with their increase, you know, their slightly higher base rate, I was not making as much as VIPKid short notice. So I came in to VIPKid at $8.50 base rate back in January. So that's $21 an hour if you hit those two bonuses. And then I hit, actually I'll pull out my stats later to show you what I've kind of been able to do in a year, or almost 2 years actually. But I turned to short notice and now I'm able to get $25 an hour doing short notice. So the extra $2 kind of put me over GoGoKid. And GoGoKid has started to change a lot of their policies. I still think they're a good company. I still recruit for them. I still help people get hired there. I have a few referrals in there every month, but I put most of my time into VIPKid now. They work out better for me. A lot of teachers who don't find success with VIPKid or don't like the curriculum, you know, by all means try GoGoKid. they can be a good company as well. Wow, 16 people watching, 5 likes. Please, those 11 people, click that like button. I would so appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming to watch. Yeah, it's already been 20 minutes. I'm gonna just kind of get into quickly the online teaching stuff. So I applied for VIPKid. As I said, I was in Vietnam. I started building up these students because I was teaching off-peak hours. And that's a good tip, actually. If you're struggling with bookings, you know, a lot of teachers are not willing to teach those overnight slots. And there, I'll give an example of Seaton in this group who was really successful. I think she's here. Are you here? Yes, you are. I see your comment there. Yeah, that, you know, she was really successful kind of opening those overnight slots in the beginning and building up students that way, because a lot of teachers are not doing those overnight stuff, that overnight schedule. So those off-peak hours can book, definitely. So I was booking 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. pretty consistently then. Now students were on holiday, but because I was opening up very consistently those hours for like the whole month, those students that were either not in school yet or on the way home from school or, you know, different situations, they kind of followed me after Chinese New Year ended, and I had a very, very consistent schedule. You know, I was very fortunate from the beginning. And I kept a lot of students from that 2 to 6 slot. So I wanted to make $100 US a day. So that was, back then I was doing $21 an hour. So I was usually doing 8 or 9 slots, so almost $100. And then, yeah, that was doing the priority bookings and doing like the Monday frenzy. I was, you know, pretty consistent with that. Then so I taught, you know, that was January of 2018. I taught all the way to October, let me think, when was it? I got my second contract in July, my third contract in January. So yeah, when I got my third contract, I didn't get the raise. So if you're not familiar with the raise, you can't get a raise unless you fulfill certain requirements. And one of them was to teach a certain amount of peak hours. So that 7 to 9 p.m. Beijing slot. And I never teach that. I think out of my first like 1,000 classes, I maybe taught 3 classes in those peak hours. So that 7 to 9 slot was very, you know, it was my evenings in Asia, so I didn't want to teach then. So I didn't get the raise. And I think if you come in at $8 base rate, you don't have to teach that many as long as you fulfill the other ones. But at the $8.50 base rate, I had to get all the points. So I had to hit pretty much everything. And I didn't get it. And I thought, you know, GoGoKid's paying more. Magic Ears is paying more. You know, what am I doing? And so before the contract, I was on with GoGoKid. I was on with Magic Ears. I was teaching for all 3, you know, doing a little bit here and there, seeing what stuck, seeing what I liked. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to try this short notice thing with VIPKid. And that has just been what I've done ever since. So now I open my slots at 6 p.m. So I've created like my own little frenzy with my students. And at 6 p.m. when my classes end, I open for the next day and they get booked. So, you know, this is something that you can do after you build up a following. I do communicate with students on WeChat, and I do, you know, have a relationship with many parents that way. All right, Maria's talking about Palfish. Yeah, check them out. I've heard good things about Palfish as well. They're an app on your phone. Little bit of a social media thing with them, I believe. You know, you have to market yourself. But yeah, let us know how that goes. Yeah, Seaton does rock the overnight gig. There's actually a Facebook group that I've heard about for overnight teachers, just to kind of keep you awake through the night. Yeah, Ed's asking, Edward, is it Ed or Edward? Did your prior Chinese brick and mortar background with Chinese children help with your online teaching? I think so. I definitely understood Chinese culture when I got hired with VIPKid, having lived in China for 3 years. So, you know, I picked up a lot of the language. I probably have about 100 words, even now, that I can kind of remember and use with 80% good in, you know, tone, intonation or whatever. There's 4 tones in Chinese. And so, the same sound or word can mean 4 different things depending on the tone that you use. I do use it with students. I'll be honest, you're not supposed to, but I do use it with the little ones. If, I'm asking how old are they or what their name is, and they're giving you that blank stare, like, what are you talking about? Yeah, so I do use it. And I used it in my intro video, actually. Not that you need to, but I think it helped a little bit. I don't know. It was kind of a lot of students that are brand new to me say, "Teacher, do you speak Chinese?" And, so I definitely have gotten some students because of that. Yeah. Yes, WeChat, please. Yes, sir. If only I could teach all night and make it to my B&M job. Yeah, true, Dana. Maybe those weekends could help. All right. Thank you for the likes, everybody. 16 people watching. Cool. Share this with anybody that's interested. I'll have it up on my channel afterwards. So that's where I my journey with VIPKid. Now I wanted to talk to you a little bit about recruiting and kind of how this whole thing happened. When I first got hired, there were very few male teachers on YouTube talking about online teaching. And, there's a lot more of us now, but when I started, I just felt like there was nobody. There was a few videos out there, and I think some of those guys might still be making videos. But, I thought I'm going to throw up a video about why males should teach online. Like, it just seemed like a video that I wish was out there. Yes, WeChat, do it. You need to get verified. It's a little bit complicated, but if you send me a message, I'll try to verify you. You need someone else with a WeChat account. I've had WeChat for almost like 10 years, so I don't even remember how it all came to be on my phone. But yeah, so I thought I would throw up a video about why men should teach for VIPKid, because I felt like that was a video I wanted to see when I was getting going. So I was in my little room in a homestay in Ho Chi Minh, Saigon, Vietnam. And I cringe when I watch it, but it has like 2,000 views now. And I kind of talked about reasons why, guys should get into it. I really didn't think it was going to pan into anything. But I guess I hit a bit of a niche with guys that were looking for online teaching. Obviously knew about recruiting. That was a great bonus. So you get $100 when someone teaches their first class with VIPKid. Oh, awesome. So I was in, I would love to share with you the homestay I was in. The family is awesome. I stayed in District 8 in a very, very local street. And, I just loved it. It was so awesome. And pretty good internet, actually. I taught there for a month. But yeah, I have been back 3 times to visit. They're just such a great family. Very, very local experience. So that video, I got like a couple of people emailing me, which was like mind blowing. I was like, oh wow, someone found a video. And I probably had 1 referral in my first 3 months of teaching. Maybe, I think it was 2 actually. One was a friend that I taught with at my international school, and one was somebody from online that I didn't know. So I had 2 referrals, and I thought, this is kind of cool, like, $200. I'll keep promoting this thing. So I started sharing it. I really didn't see a lot of traction. I had maybe, let me think, 2018. Yeah, in 2018, I probably had like 15 referrals in that whole time. And then in the new year, so this is just going back January of 2019, I started putting a lot more effort into recruiting. So I started making more videos. I put more time into my channel. I had something about like 75, if that, subscribers in January of this year. And, if you're thinking of getting into YouTube, it is pretty saturated. But if you're hitting those videos that people want to watch, and if you're providing value and, information for people that are looking for certain things, then it can be, you can get some traction with your videos. The Smart Demo lesson came out in March. I was part of a webinar where they were introducing it. It was brand new. I went from the webinar right over there behind me I filmed a video on how to pass your smart demo lesson. It doesn't have a ton of views in the grand scope of things, but I was the very first smart demo lesson video on YouTube. So that kind of got traction. I started getting subscribers from that. And then things just started to build from there. Yeah, well, you know, I think now that I have a very small group, small audience, I can start offering content that's relevant to teachers as well. But you know, you probably would have gone on YouTube to look for how to do your demo lesson, how to teach the mock class. And so you want to have those keywords that are going to match what people are looking for. Make sure that you always have VIPKid in your title. And you know, the mock class has changed a lot. So you've done the mock class, so you know, practicing how you would share that with people, and you know, give some tips. People are looking for tips. People want to know how to pass these things. And so I just started with general tips and, you know, showing people how to do things. So, all right, let's see if I can get to some questions here. Kim says you don't have to get verified to sign up. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I see some people posting that you do, so I'm not really sure. Yeah. District 4, cool. Oh, I get a lot of messages. Dana's saying messaging the most. I think you're talking about me. No, I get a lot of messages with people who are interested. Yeah, so then the recruiting kind of started to pick up, and I made a Facebook group, and I thought about like a brand that would, you know, bring referrals in, and I wanted to be someone who was offering more than just a referral link. I wanted to offer training, provide support, a group, to show that, hey, this is possible. You're not alone. You can, you know, you can do this. You can do this, and you're not alone. And there's a lot of support out there for you. So, okay, let's get to. I think I covered kind of everything that I wanted to. Is anyone interested in anything specific about recruiting, YouTube videos? Yeah, I'll introduce, so my Facebook group is called VIPKid Hiring Bootcamp. My website is www.vipkidbootcamp.com. So on there, I've got lots of just free stuff you can kind of check out. I have props and resources you can download, just the very basic to get through your mock and your interview and stuff. If you've got other stuff, use it. But if you've got nothing, these things will help. It's vipkidbootcamp.com/resources. If you are interested in becoming a teacher, I have a referral corner. You click bootcamp, and then there's a password. To get the password, you need to sign up with me or add my code. In that section, there is a training guide. There is a hiring course with videos that I did over the course of a month, you know, just kind of helping people with different sections of the process. A lot of freebies, a lot of images and videos that you won't see on YouTube. I love the conversations going on in the chat, guys. That's great. How do parents know we're on WeChat? Okay, so the way I introduce WeChat with parents is on your WeChat, you can go and you can get a code, a QR code to scan. So I'm going to show you on here. So here's my WeChat. Let's see if I can kind of, yeah, there's my WeChat. And if you go to the plus at the top and click, where is it? Is it scan? Plus, now I can't find it. Is it, where is it? So if you go to your profile, which is here, and then you click on your little QR code by your name, and then your QR code, yeah, you get a QR code like this. So I would hold it up to the camera actually after class. And sometimes parents will say, oh, teacher, we can't book your class, you're so busy. So I will just show my QR code, and they go and get their phone, and then they can scan it from their QR, from their WeChat app. The other thing is you can put your WeChat ID into the feedback to parents, into the chat box. That's what a lot of teachers do. They'll just put WeChat ID and then their name. And so if parents want to see the replay of the class, or they notice your WeChat ID in the bottom in the chat box, they can add you that way. Yes, Edward, some people do ask for my WeChat. Yep, some people do. Very rarely, but some people do. Are they allowed to do private lessons? No. You are not allowed to, no. In fact, I think the Beijing VIPKid legal team is, it's probably hard to ban WeChat use, but they don't like it, for sure. I visited the headquarters actually last year and talked to someone who said that it might change and that you're not allowed to use it anymore, but I've never heard that before. So it's okay, but do not take them off the platform. Or do not tell anyone that you're taking them off the platform. That's a sure way to definitely lose your job. Yeah. Rose asks, how many hours do you teach each week? Oh, good question. I was going to talk to you about what I do now. So now that I'm recruiting a lot more, I teach a little bit less, but I still teach 3 hours a day. So now I fill 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Beijing time. Then I have my evenings available and free for other things. Yes, that's true, Kim. Yeah, I know GoGoKid it's not allowed. Every time I do the mock class, the interviewer seems to tell me different things. So frustrating. Yes, I know. Look at it as a big body of work, Ronnie, and implement that feedback. Sometimes when you do a second mock, you might do something differently than the first. And so just do your best to implement that feedback for the next time. Email me your feedback. You're one of my referrals, and I would be happy to kind of help you a little bit more with what they're saying. And come to another online coaching. I do live coachings as well for referrals. On this month, it's VIPKidbootcamp.com/live coaching, live-coaching, and you can see my schedule there. I'm doing them Thursday nights, Eastern Standard Time. And then on Sunday nights, Eastern Standard Time, I have a Getting Hired session for anybody who wants to learn about the company, base rate pay, the interview options, what it'll all look like from start to finish. Yeah. It would be great if they showed you the rubric. Yes. So the rubric, when I do my live coaching, the categories that I go over is from a rubric that I have seen that's supposed to be the official one, but it's not on the internet anymore. But I know it's something I've argued for a long time. I wish they showed us the rubric for sure. I mean, really, when you teach students, you want the students to know the rubric, right? In terms of, what you're assessing. So, yeah. All right. So now, I teach 3 hours a day, and I spend the rest of the time coaching, emailing, recruiting. Most of my referrals come from YouTube or Facebook. And I've just been really enjoying the process of helping people get hired. And I'm someone that had like nobody last year, and I'm almost at 200 referrals right now in terms of how many people have gone through my boot camp or my training and been one of my referrals. So, are there classes at 2 p.m. Beijing time? Yes. So VIPKid is open 8:30 in the morning until 10 at night. But you're going to find it hard to get students in those off-peak hours because at 2 p.m., most students are in school. But you will find that there are students that can take those classes. China is huge, right? And we're talking about a company that has over 500,000 students. So you've got some students who are homeschooled, or maybe they're on a half-day system. They might be really young, like get certified for trials in level 1. You'll get those 4-year-olds that are not in school yet. You'll get Chinese students that are in different time zones. So I have a student who used to book me faithfully at 2 p.m. Beijing time, but he lived in New Zealand with his mom, Chinese student. So, and then I would have many students on their way home from school in the car, like at 3 and 3:30. So it's very possible. And there's so many holidays in China. There's actually a holiday tomorrow, Mid-Autumn Festival. Sorry, my computer's gonna die. And you can get bookings. So open up those slots for tomorrow. Friday is the Mid-Autumn Festival in Beijing, or in China, sorry. Typical school hours in Beijing or in China, generally, very similar to ours in North America, you know. I think they've got to be at school by 8 o'clock in the morning and they're home by 4. Another thing is lunchtime hours. So I've had students, when I was trying to build up a student base, I would open the 12 to 1 time frame, like at lunch hour, and I would get students that were at home at lunch, having lunch, which is crazy to think that students they're just so busy. They've got so many classes. They're coming home from school. They're doing Chinese class, math class, English class with us. Yeah, so many different things. Guys, I've been on for 40 minutes. I'm happy to hang out and answer questions or talk about anything else to see if I kind of had everything covered. Yeah, I'll share with you my VIPKid stats, actually, just because that's kind of interesting. So I will open up the app here. So in your app, there is a place to find your stats. Of course, I can't find it when I want it, right? Okay, here we go. So here are my stats. Can you see them? So I've been with VIPKid for 614 days. I have taught 741 students. That's 2,852 classes, 71,300 minutes. I have, here you can see my followers up here. So I have 1,769 followers. I know, some of you are probably thinking, I've got 4 followers. How on earth? Don't worry about the followers. It has helped with obviously being able to turn into short notice, but I got a lot of followers in the first 3 months, three to 6 months. I didn't really do anything special. I do think being a male teacher, maybe at that time was a little easier to, build up a student base, but I haven't seen more than 100 followers in the last 6 months. So I think I've been at like 1,700 followers for ages. What else? Feedback. I get a lot of feedback. I will give you some feedback tips. So I have 1,913 excellence, 4 good, and 4 unsatisfactory. Okay, the unsatisfactory ones. 2 of them were erased from VIPKid. The other one said, no secondary reward. Shh, that is true. And the other one was disappointed teacher was eating. So I was eating almonds. So I was like secretly kind of just slipping them into my mouth. I was so hungry and I was just putting them into my mouth and, chewing them. And I thought, nobody can see me chewing almonds. Don't chew almonds, don't chew grapes. Don't try to put in raisins into your mouth. I totally agree. I was wrong. Don't eat in class. Yeah, so that was another bad review. But I got like, my highest month was 75% feedback. And ask for feedback. Be very explicit about it. I want feedback. Please give me 5 Apple feedback if you enjoyed the class. Just drill it. Every feedback, say it every time. Put it in the chat box. If you've got parents on WeChat, ask them for feedback, because I've had some students go back and give me feedback from the last 20 classes when they realize, oh, I never gave him feedback. So that's kind of cool when you can do that. Computer, oh, Wendy says, can you show us how you do your setup? Computer, mouse, prop positions, etc. Yeah, so, okay, behind me is my filming classroom and when I do my live sessions. So that's my background and my lighting. And that is my table that I put my stand up. So I use a neck stand like this, and my computer sits on there nicely and I can move it up and down. I also put this on top of a shoebox. A little bit risky because it could fall, but I just make sure that I'm eye level. And like right now, I'm using something slightly different to prop it up, a little book stand. In terms of like where I teach, so this is the table that I'm not going to move things around because it's going to mess things up a bit and it can cause a bit of a delay and blurriness and stuff. But my classroom is right here, and I just have my mouse to the, obviously to one side, and I'm very basic with props. So I have my Meg and Mike doll, I have Dino, I have a few cutouts, I grab fruit and things like that for trials, because there's always colors counting and things like that that you can use. What do you use for good light? So that's my light for filming. I have another one in front of me right now. And this is a weird room because it has a lot of overhead light, which I sometimes shut off because overhead light can cast a lot of shadows. Try to have light coming in front of you, on you. Behind the computer is a frosted window. And so that when I'm teaching to this side, I have good light on this side of my face, but it's shadowy on this side. So just put a light in front of you. This one is a little bit expensive, but you can get really inexpensive lights, you know, those 3-prong lights at Walmart, which can be really helpful. What kind of things do you do to build up your regular number of students? Give really good classes. Give good classes, give good feedback, do your feedback quickly. I'm really big on Feedback Panda now and blah blah comments. They're both really good feedback tools. And they save me. I can do my feedback in like 2 minutes between classes. So I would suggest using one of those and get that feedback to them immediately. Give lots of feedback. You know, tell them what you think they need to work on. So the students that love you will find you. But really, it's about giving a good class. I mean, giving a fun experience for the child. So finding what connect with that child, and put what you connect on in the feedback. You know, I heard that Johnny really likes basketball. I love basketball too. I can't wait to talk to him about basketball next time. That small human connection really makes a difference. Yeah. Don't say the wrong name. Yeah, sorry, I'm going back into some comments here. If someone's comment or question didn't get answered, ask it again, because I'm really new to this live thing, but it's kind of fun. Panda or blah blah, which one do I prefer? I've got more experience with Panda because I've been doing it for about 6 months. Blah blah is a little bit different. I need to get into it more. They just made me an affiliate and to promote it a little bit, but it has different pros and cons. I think blah blah comments has the ability to be very customizable, but there's a little bit more moving around that you need to do. But there are templates which are, you know, you can definitely use and then add in something about grammar. Tons and tons of pre-done templates and sentences that you can customize. Feedback Panda has teacher created templates. So that's the big difference. Teachers have uploaded templates to relate to certain lessons. So you might go into Feedback Panda after teaching a class, and you know, teacher ABC has uploaded a feedback template for that lesson that you can customize. So if you're really in a pinch, you can use those, or you can just build your own. I am going to do a video soon on that though. I need to revamp my intro and pics as I haven't been getting booked. Can you help me with this? Do you already have a video about this? So there are some good videos about making a video on YouTube. I do have a hiring course of ones that I think are really good. And yeah, for your intro, make sure that it's focused on academics and experience. I say leave the fluff to the very end and keep it very minimal. You know, I like puppies and long walks on the beach. That's like the very least important thing, even though we think that that's going to be that wonderful connection with the family and they're going to want to book you. Say it in your video, but in your bio, keep it to, you know, Chinese parents really focus on academics and education and experience, and, you know, your experience teaching or with ESL students learning a new language. So keep it very focused on that stuff. I did the same lesson exactly in both mine. Each mentor looks, I'm sure, at what they prefer. Yeah, they go through a lot of training to be standardized, I know, and they, you know, have a lot of observations and they try to make it standard across, but we are humans, right? So we definitely add in our own biases and preferences, and so keep at it. If anybody's struggling with the mock, keep at it. You will pass. I guarantee you, if you are faithful and committed and you want this job and you go back to your why and why you're doing this, you will pass. Don't worry, you will pass. It might take you a little longer than other people, but you're going to be fine. All right. Well, this is so much fun, guys. I might do a weekly one of these and focus on different topics, you know, to do with online teaching or, you know, whatever people are interested in. I would be happy to go over different things. How do you open up the off hours? So when I say off hours, Seaton, I'm talking about off-peak hours. So 8:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. are the only hours you can open. Beijing time. Is that what you mean? Yes, Wendy. As a newbie, open up everything you can. Yeah, Seaton says it. Sorry to say that your mock depends on who your mentor is. I'm not sure they follow a rubric. They do follow a rubric, I promise you. I know many mock class mentors. They do follow a rubric. It's very strict to become a mock class mentor. The training is rigorous, and they really, you know, they go through a lot of trainings to streamline it. So I do, at the core of it, believe that they use a rubric, but sometimes biases enter in. Correct, not the closed sleeping time. Sorry about that. Yeah, I just mean the 8:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Yeah, so that is about all I wanted to cover. Thank you for coming to the party. 1,000 subscribers. I'm so thrilled that you are subscribed and, you know, value my content, and I just want to put more out there. So if there's things you want to hear about, let me know, and I would love to share them with you. And I can't even believe that I've got 14 people watching, or up to, I think we had like 18 in the chat. So that's really, really cool. Thank you for coming. Are there any other questions? What are you teaching today? Who has a booked schedule? Or tomorrow? Most of you are probably in the US. Yes, go to sleep. Thank you for coming, Seaton. See you next time. Does anyone have classes booked this morning, tomorrow morning? I have 3 until 6 booked. 3:30, actually 3:30 until 6:30. So it's 10:52 in the morning here. How many hours of sleep do you have? I try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. I think that's what everyone should aim for, but it is difficult when you're getting up so early. Yeah, summer trials. Okay, Dana's got a few on Friday night. Awesome. Okay, guys, again, you can find me on Facebook. If you're here watching and you are new, my website is VIPKidBootcamp.com. My Facebook group is VIPKid Hiring Bootcamp, and I would love to have you join. And if you are interested in online teaching, please get in touch with me. If you have watched this whole thing, thank you so much. I feel so grateful and so honored that you are hanging out. So thank you again. And please leave a comment if you want to hear about something else. You know, I can do a live focused on trials or props or short notice. I can dive a little bit more into short notice or recruiting. If you want to get into recruiting, I have a lot to say about recruiting and, you know, how you can help people get interested in this job. It is another way that you can make money. And I have met some wonderful people along the way, and I've really enjoyed, you know, the process of being a part of people's journey. So, okay, thanks everybody. I'm going to sign off now. Please like this video if you haven't done so already, and subscribe and all that good stuff. I will see you next time. Good night, everybody.